Peace and blessings. Welcome to Aesthetically Speaking Music. And we want to welcome all of our seekers, as we like to call each other. And we're having a very, very outstanding guest here tonight. And I'm sure you will enjoy every moment of this, unless you're part of the deaf, dumb, and blind. Because we're going to be playing incredible music. Before I introduce our guest and read his bio, I do want to introduce our incredible staff of Juan Cardoso and Ilham Timit. And we like to have them speak a few words or few phrases before we get into our session with our esteemed guest. I'm going to say that. Ilham.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everybody. Welcome to this live stream about this great musician LuFuki, and about jazz music, Muslim jazz music, and yeah, it's a very interesting subject and music, and like always, we will learn more and more about that. Thank you. And
Sure,
welcome.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this another amazing session, another day in the garden, as we say. And it's so it's so so beautiful to be once again talking about Dr. Yusef Lateef, all his legacy, his teachings, and not only about him, but the amazing project that LuFuki is running, about his methodology and way of creating music out of his psychic millennium. And I think it's a very interesting end of a cycle of live stream that we'll be having on YouTube. And we in the last month we talked about the music of Morocco, music of Brazil, Morocco, and the blues, the connections. We've talked about opera, the opera scene in South Africa last week. And I think Yusef Lateef, represents a little bit of all of that, and creates all these bridges in his music and his method of making music, of teaching music. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a beautiful night. Thank you, LuFuki, for this opportunity. And yeah, welcome for some night of wonderful music and learning.
Thank you, brother. I would like to welcome, like I said, our esteemed guest, who is in Detroit, Michigan, my home, Brother LuFuki Ismail. And we are honored, so honored to have him with us. And I'm going to read his bio. He submitted a short bio to us, and this will only enlighten us to the beauty and the brilliance of who he is. LuFuki is a composer, organizer, guitarist, and cultural curator in Detroit, who views music as a spiritual practice that brings about healing and unity, and whose art practice centers around Black ancestral legacy. He formed the collective LuFuki and Divine Providence and has released 4 albums since: Inner Horizons, Elephants and Mountains, First Light, and Love&Light. LuFuki is currently working on several projects, including XRoads, a traveling exhibit on the history of Black Muslims in jazz, and Autophysiopsychic Millennium, a creative research music collective to explore and experiment with the philosophy and music methodology of the great Dr. Yusef Lateef. And make sure Charles gets in. Okay. Which was featured at Carnegie Hall and Cranbrook. LuFuki holds a master's degree from Wayne State University in Near Eastern Studies, specializing in the Arabic language with a concentration in the literary genre of the Tashliya, I hope I pronounced that correctly, praise poetry of the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, and a bachelor's degree from the University of Michigan in Africana Studies and History. Brother LuFuki, welcome to Aesthetically Speaking Music. Hey, Charles. You're on, brother.
I hit the wrong button, sorry.
Okay.
Like
Well,
hey, Charles. Assalamualaikum, everyone. I'm overly honored to be invited in this presence. I found myself in these years in the presence of people I didn't know that were outstanding figures in the community. Baba Ralph, Miles Jones is one of them. I'm humbled, and I hope I can express the happiness I feel right now without looking too crazy. I especially want to thank you guys for playing The Creator Has a Master Plan, which brings up so much emotion, because we need a master plan these days.
Oh,
we have to trust that there is something, there is a wisdom behind all this turmoil in the world today. But there has to be something. There has to be some sort of wisdom. So I thank you for that, and I thank you for the invitation to express my gratitude to all the legends that come before us in the best way I can. We are the prayers. We are the results of their prayers. So I just hope I can live up to that.
Ashe, brother. So, brother, how we usually we have our seekers that we call that some of them are already on, and we pray that there will be others that will be joining us on YouTube, who I never know who they are until we're done. But at any rate, I want to welcome Carolyn, Patrick Wanzo. I know Clovette was here a minute ago, and she's going to be in and out, I'm sure. And Brother Charles Scruggs, LuFuki, Charles Scruggs is a native of Detroit and an outstanding musician, entrepreneur, and community leader. I'm going to say that I've been knowing since I was in middle school. So, we go back, and, he never misses a session. And I'm so grateful to have him with us as always. And here's Clovette, I guess, coming in now. So, but at any rate, we want to turn our program onto you, our session, as we like to call it, onto you. And LuFuki, you can tell Juan what you want played. You may talk about whatever, some of your projects, whatever it is. We want you to feel free, because that's how we do here on Aesthetically Speaking Music. And I'm going to say this: I am honored and I am deeply humbled to have you on, brother. I'm going to say that. Thank you. Shukran.
That's fun. A lot of language on there.
Well, we're all over the place. Now, I'm going to tell you, we're in 4 places. Yeah. We're in Ilham is in France, Juan is in Brazil, I'm in Atlanta, Charles is in LA. We have people all over the place that are with us tonight. So I don't want to belabor anything. You go ahead, brother, please.
Yes. Oh, first of all, I like the terminology of people who are coming to this session. We'll call it as seekers. because I think that it keeps people humble, you know, and it signifies that the road continues. There's no stopping. There's always opportunities to learn, and to learn and teach. But as Miles Davis said one time, he said, "If I don't play music, I die." You know, I always have. Right?
Yeah.
So, I hope I can put myself in that same category, right? You know, life would be boring, right? So, uh, if you will, I'd like to open up a couple of things about the projects I've been working on lately. So a lot of my projects, actually, I say 90% of my projects lately has been revolved around Muslims in the genre, as they call it. It's called the J word. I just yeah, I just got out of an interview recently, and I found myself saying it a lot, and I had to do I had to mention that the only reason I'm saying these words is because um, that's what you know, and I prefer not to say it um, because it doesn't represent what we do.
There you go. Yes.
And it really ties into the notion of like you know, white supremacy, things like that, because the trick is, if you name something, you own it, right? Lake Victoria was called something else before it was before the British came there and dedicated to the Queen, right? So when you name something, you control it, and you control the narrative at the same time. This was a discussion I was having with Angel Abd-Lateef from Chicago before we started the APPM, Autophysiopsychic Millennium. You know, during the pandemic or the quarantine, you know, people were doing a lot of reflections, right? One reflections I was having between musician friends was the trajectory of the genre moving further and further away from its African and spiritual roots. And so we're having these discussions not knowing that what to do other than call it out in our respective circles. But how could we make a stronger effort in order to just create a dent in this fiasco? You know, I know that like Martin Luther King said, I might not see the you know, the results of what I'm doing, right? But at least he can start it, right? He might not be around, you know, to see the promised land, you know.
That's
and
right.
I might not either, but I can at least start it.
Yes.
So lo and behold, I did an art exhibit called Crossroads or XRoads, whatever you want to call it. It's X, the letter X, and then roads. Playing on Malcolm X, you know, in connection with jazz and things like that. He's very the centerpiece of that art exhibit, which was showing like the chronological order of Black Muslims in this genre post World War II into the modern era. So Malcolm X is really centered on that. And by the fact, just because the first exhibit was in Detroit, I wanted to highlight the Detroit, you know, dignitaries in that, you know, like Real Galaxy, Wendell Harrison, so forth and so on. And of course, Dr. Yusef Lateef. But for some reason, before the exhibit ended, I was just contemplating on the picture of him, and I knew something about him before, but it just didn't hit me at that time until then. And as I was looking at him, and something just spoke to me and said, "There's something more with this. I think you should look into it."
He was speaking to you.
I can only assume. We have Ilham here. Ilham means inspiration, you know, divine message, being inspired. I'll let them read that out. So I had this so I started having conversations with Angel about the week about about the absence of African influences and spirituality in this genre, and how can we counter that? And I said, hey, I just ran across these wonderful collections from Dr. Abd-Lateef. And she said, yeah, I've been studying for years. I said, oh, really? I said, maybe we should use, not use in a respectful way. Maybe we should utilize his methodology in order to have a way to discuss these things. Because number one, you can't deny his musicology. You can't, right? And you can't deny his scholarship, right? So we know that institutions, one of the ways they gatekeep, right? They say, if you don't have this paper, you can't have this discussion in our forums. You can't even mentor our students because you don't have a piece of paper. So they can't deny, what he left, right?
Right.
So I said, why don't we really get down to nitty gritty of it and present it not only as a methodology, but also a way of life and something that's applicable for the next generation. So I'm really condensing this conversation,
Take your time, brother. Take your
yeah.
time.
Because my conversations with Auntie Aisha, and which is his widow, I hope she jumps in at some time. I felt as if he left just enough material to spark the curiosity to continue what he left. Because his methodology and philosophy is really geared towards all age groups in school. And this has been confirmed by actually doing the workshop with kids and college students. Because like myself, his philosophy, I would like to call it, philosophy more than methodology, because something that's being discussed, right? It enlightened in me the same thing it enlightens in the kids or the students I'm presenting it to. It's like, for instance, why did we create the music that we do in each community or each culture? Is based on our intellect or physicality and our spirituality, which you call autophysiopsychic. But even that term itself is deeper. As it is simple in its explanation, it is even more deeper than that, right? So we've been expounding on that definition and what it means in life and what it means in to apply to one's life, in music or just life in general. And the revelations that we're getting from it and the rations that we're getting from it, it really, I guess, justifies what we've been doing. It kind of reinforces the reasons why we're doing it. So we got this collective called Autophysiopsychic Millennium. We put Millennium on there because our intention is to have this for the next generation and to continue on. So yeah, it came out of the zip it. Now I feel that this is something I can't let go. It's going to be a part of my life to the end, because it's like when you go on YouTube, something comes up, the algorithms. So this is the same thing that's coming up within myself, studying this and expounding upon it. And I just feel blessed. So while we were doing this, we made a lot of connections. Yes, we played at Carnegie Hall, things like that. And it was great. But also the day after, we played at Sister's Place in Brooklyn. And so Ahmed Abdullah, he's a curator there. He just wrote a great book, Sun Ra. I heard it's really great. I need to check it out myself. that night he invited us to play there at the Carnegie Hall. And he told us before the show, he said, okay, you guys have 2 sets, right? 45 minutes, 45 minutes. And we thought to ourselves, we just started this collective. We only had like 3 or 4 songs, maybe 5 songs. Yeah. And so immediately we said, what song are we going to play? And we decided on Creator Has a Master Plan.
There you go.
And that show, the Carnegie Hall show was okay. That Sister's Place, it was something else. So that's why I'm happy that you played the song. It brought back all those things, you know. And you can play that song in any situation, and people will come out of the background and say, "Oh, hey, I'm so glad you played that song." You know, I've been thinking about it, and now you just played it. So one of the things Ahmed Abdullah said after the show, and after that show, which is really like one of the missions of Autophysiopsychic, it's not just an educational or performance thing. It's also we're all about we're trying to focus on institutional building. Ahmed Abdullah said it's one of the things we forgot along the way as we were progressing in our arts and the culture was institutional building. So that has to be something that's considered down the road, you know, to help further this mission, I guess. So that led us to like performing at later on at Cranbrook, which is one of the top design colleges in the world, right? And come to find, wow, this I'm going to tell you why this thing is so serendipitous. So as we were negotiating the you know, about how we're going to perform there, what we're going to do, so we decided to do something that was very like original, other than performing. We're going to try to bring to life one of his novellas sonically, which was Night in the Garden of Love. So that involved us writing a script for it, dialogues, monologues that's interwoven in the music itself, composing music, and so we had a script. So now we became a like a sort of like a performance troupe, if you will. So during these negotiations with Cranbrook, come to find out, Sonia Clark was having an exhibit there, and they didn't know that there was a connection until she was already there, and we were coming behind her.
Wow.
And during our talks also, they found out, I don't know why I didn't know either, that Yusef Lateef played there in 1958.
Yeah.
So our minds were just blown. How can all these things happen at the same time without it being divine plan? Creator has a master plan. I was like, oh my God, you know, so it's really, as much as it is amazing, it's really humbling because you can't plan things like this.
Yes.
So we're not planned, right? So if we can we show like some clippings from that performance? Is it time?
Sure. Yeah, of course, but I just want to address some message that we had on the YouTube chat. So just for you to know, because some people are
Sure.
Sending questions or comments. So Ann Smith say good evening, Ann. Thank you for being here. We have also Destiny Muhammad.
Oh,
good gratitude day.
oh.
Turning in from Auckland, California. Oakland, I'm sorry. And we have Khadija Amatullah.
Yeah.
She sent some message, peace and perfect love, family. And Joder Jenkins says, glad to be here. And Khadija, is Khadija? Khadija?
Yeah.
Okay. She says, talk about and heart. I think it's perfect love, maybe. And Also, when you were talking about the these venues, she said the intimate venues are always big with energy and impact.
Hmm.
And also said now I love Sonia Clark's work. That's it. I just want to make you,
Yeah.
send you the
So,
message that
a
she
couple of
did.
things before you start the video. I'm gonna start with Sonia Clark. Her exhibit on black hair. She made a font like typing font, using black hair curls. Her exhibit is so, in my opinion, so groundbreaking as far as just race relations, in many ways. So the exhibit is really heavily based on black hair, because black hair is really sacred to black people and things like that. And as far as our customs and braiding and the importance of it, it was at Cranbrook and it was amazing. I really need to reach back out to her. The Khadija Amatullah, she's from Oakland, also. I'm from Oakland, originally from Oakland. Very good friend of mine, outstanding poet, and a wonderful friend. Now, Destiny Muhammad, I don't know if you guys know about her. You should. Harpist from the Hood. She is the second part of, no, I shouldn't say second, probably first part of this Detroit Red thing, because she plays harp. So obviously she's going to do the Dorothy Ashby part, right? So we actually in partnership in creating the script and composing music and coming up with ideas about it. And so the discussions we've been having for the last, oh my God, 3-4 years about Malcolm X in this genre gave birth to Detroit Red.
Blessing.
Wow. Should I play the video? No?
Please, yes.
So today was all about the students. It was about hearing what the students learned over the past 6 weeks, so that we took care of your students and they are ready to go to high school with a leg up. Everything that they do, at least most of what they do, should be a reminder. They should be practicing now what they are going to do the first semester. So when you send them back to Horizons Upward Bound on Saturdays, we will keep them ahead of the game, so that everybody who can hear my voice that's in high school is coming back with no less than a 3.0.
I am Lila Catelier. I'm the curator of public programs at Cranbrook Art Museum, and I am curating the project, Something Else in the Garden by Autophysiopsychic Millennium. This project started about a year ago when we realized that there was an ensemble, a creative ensemble called Autophysiopsychic Millennium, who are celebrating the legacy, the philosophy, and the music of Dr. Yusef Lateef.
What is autophysiopsychic music? That's such a wonderful question. It's Yusef Lateef's definition of what is commonly known as jazz. It has a more extensive and deliberate meaning. It means music from yourself, your heart, your mind, your body, and your soul.
In 1958, Cranbrook Academy's Studio Council had the first opportunity to invite outside artists to perform at the Art Museum, and the organization that they invited first was Yusef Lateef's quintet. Lateef is a very important jazz musician from Detroit who is really well known for introducing Eastern musical instruments into jazz. And this project is really important because what it does is try to sort of take back creative agency, especially for Black music specifically, railing against terms like the genre of jazz. And it's really a sort of protest against the idea of commercialization.
Autophysiopsychic music means to me it's dealing with music on a spiritual and a mental level, which should be all music, but in pop culture we lose those elements where it's just a party and dance element. You put those elements even in pop music and it can become autophysiopsychic music. Dr. Lateef was teaching us to take ownership, of our culture and everything, and not let it just be marketed and worn out and lose the true meaning and everything.
Autophysiopsychic means music that is coming authentically from the heart. That which comes from our mind, our body, our spirit, our culture. It is a way of expressing oneself through sound in all the experiences that a person has had, all the emotions that a person has, and just letting sound just share that story and translate that story through whatever instrument it is that you're playing.
The basis of the Autophysiopsychic Millennium course at Hub, as well as the Afrofuturist Literature elective, is the novella Night in the Garden of Love by Yusef Lateef.
After some days we would come back, we would tell us like how far we got, what was our artistic visions, what did we gain from reading that part of the book. We would write poems, short stories, just share our thoughts about the book, and they would also accompany it with music or like sounds in the background sometimes, and it was like really fulfilling.
These students are so bright, they are so inquisitive. They came in the first day of class already having read half of the book, and they had, different reflections and thoughts about the book. They were already making connections about how the book was related to the climate that we live in right now and how the book was related to experiences that they're dealing with. And it was just such an honor to witness that journey.
The students are learning specifically about Lateef's music and philosophies. At its core, what they are learning is Black self-determination and creativity. The idea that they can look within themselves to find their creative energy and that creative spark that they can take to all aspects of their life, but especially to art, be that visual, poetry, creative writing, musical performance, any sort of creative spark that they can find within themselves is what we are trying to bring to them with this class.
So autophysiopsychic to me is just a means as to express yourself in a way that's true to your physical, mental, and spiritual self, just expelling yourself in those areas of your life.
This was the first time that Cranbrook had APP here, and also the first time we taught Dr. Lateef's concept to the students. So I was super excited about that. I was anxious, a little nervous how they would receive it, because it's something totally different from what they're used to. I really enjoyed the students because they were open. We reached a lot of them. We got some great testimonials where they said it taught them how to be themselves, taught them how to be open, and also how to get rid of any creative blocks.
Well, the Hub experience is it really draws the parent in. Many parents are looking for ways to help their students transition into adulthood, and what does that look like? So we know that as adults that it's not easy, and as our students are growing quickly and maturing, this Hub experience is giving them an opportunity to be on campus by themselves, to learn the disciplines that they need, as well as giving them the opportunity to have expression and express themselves freely. So I really enjoy it for those reasons, and I'm really grateful for the opportunities that Hub gives to my student. It's important for our scholars to have more than one outlet, not just academically, but culturally and artistically as well.
This project was initiated by Cranbrook Art Museum, but is a partnership between Cranbrook's Horizons Upward Bound program, which is a program for Detroit youth, and the Multicultural Affairs Office at the Cranbrook Schools. For me, this is a really important project to bring specifically to Cranbrook, because at our heart, Cranbrook is about the creative expression of the individual, and creating a space for experimentation, a place for an artist to find themselves fully. So many different units at Cranbrook have participated in this production and really made it all come together, and we are so excited to have the opportunity to involve everyone in something so meaningful.
Their ability to give us what we need and to make suggestions on how we can bring this into focus has been, as a collective, we really appreciate it because they see the benefits of it, and how it could affect young people of color. So working with Cranbrook has, they understand the mission, and that just makes the mission, our mission, much more easier to manifest. Thanks for that.
All right, brother.
Any thoughts, King? I haven't seen that video in a while, but it really brings back things. Lila, who represents Cranbrook, you heard her in there, was very instrumental in bringing us there. Not only that, she's the one who made the connections, like, hey, he played here in 58? Hey, Sonny Clark had connections with Yusef Lateef. This is her research, right? And they, when we were there, they actually reordered the book, his live recordings from the Cranbrook, and they have it for sale there. And they, at the time, we had our residencies there last summer. They had a room where they just played his music, right? And had his album in display. Cranbrook was very helpful because, like she said, they understood the mission, what we're trying to do. There's a quote from Dr. Yusef Lateef in his autobiography about Cranbrook, and it's very positive. It's very positive because this was 58, not 68. So even though it's a 10-year difference, that's a world of distance as far as how society was, between, in that decade. For them to even do something like this in 1958 was considered very progressive.
Yes.
And we were honored to have done this because we were considering his children coming back to do the thing that he did. I'd like to mention something about the hub program they mentioned in there. And that's one of the missions of Autophysiopsychic is actually, so the performance that we did, so that was just a trailer, the performance, we did. We want to package that and offer it to other Black and Brown youth theater in the United States or the world. So the hub program, which takes kids from Detroit and put them in this very prestigious college, so they can have the experience of a very high level of education. Actually, the place looks like something out of Harry Potter because the place is immaculate. Yeah. Big buildings, lawns, and all kind of stuff. They have a museum there. It's like, you put a kid in an environment, a positive environment like that, good things will come out, right? So not only that, so part of our residencies was to have an elective from Afrofuturism class. So we did it on Autophysiopsychic. And so we did probably six classes, 6 weeks, 2 times a week. After every session, there was some revelation that I did not expect from these kids. by reading this Night in the Garden of Love, they were able to extract the meaning and apply it to their lives.
Mhm. Mhm.
So a lot of the discussions were just around the book and the concept of it. They would read a couple chapters. I would give them some songs from Yusef Lateef to listen to, and they would come back, discuss the music, and discuss what they've read. By the end of that course, they were able to write their own plays, paintings, poems, skits, music. Because one of the goals of reading this book, because I actually did a book club on it before the residencies with different people. It was online. One of the goals is using the book to encourage artistry and to remove artistic block, right? But the kids got it. So it was a reformation. I was like, this is what we need to be doing. We need to focus on educating, right? I got a whiff of that before that when we went to U of M, did a residency, because the kids in the jazz program, kids today are a little bit, they're very aware of what's going on, right? So there are questions to us about when we were presenting Autophysiopsychic methodology. Let me know that they're at a point where they want something real, right? So I chalked it off as okay, of course these are college students, they're there, right? But these high school kids at Cranbrook, they got the message what Dr. Yusef Lateef was saying in his book. They got it, and I didn't have to pull them. I just listened and just got the discussion. And by the end of it, their parents were so happy that testimony you saw from that one parent, we got them from all of them. As a matter of fact, the teachers said the kids are acting in that class or performing in that class much different than the other classes they're taking there. Because we give them room to actually express what they've read. And after every class was a revelation. After every class, I could not wait to the next one. So they were absorbing the premise of the book and the music that were given for an assignment, right? And by the third or fourth week, they were like just totally engrossed in it. I just couldn't believe it, right? So they are actually, Cranbrook is actually inviting us again this summer to do a workshop, because even Auntie Aisha said, because she was there doing the performance, she said it would be a shame if this was a write-off, one-off. And the parents were saying the same thing. They were saying it would be an insult for this to happen just one time. So what we find in ourselves, like, okay, we're being invited to Cranbrook, we're also being invited to another school in Detroit to do an Autophysiopsychic workshop. So people are the concept, and they're respecting the legacy that he left. And I just feel like he just left all this wealth of information for it not just to sit there. It's to be like, it's, in schools. I went to one talk at the Smithsonian, and they mentioned Yusef Lateef, and he said it's a shame that his books, his methodology, is not in every college.
Yes,
it's an insult.
Yes,
you can't deny his scholarship.
Yes,
and you certainly can't deny his music. So we put it on ourselves to actually, bring this about, and what we've seen was actually, U of M, they actually, just one Professor Hannaford, he's soaking up, we're having discussions on his methodology and his book on his dissertation, this right here, in order to this book is actually, it's called, this is his dissertation, an overview of Western and Islamic education. Basically, he put Islamic education and Western education side by side, and compared them. Basically, the mission of this book, we kind of summarized it, me and Mr. Hanifer, that he's trying to bring ethics back into education, because he noticed at the time it was being lost, and it's even more lost now because, oh my God, I hear from my wife all the time. But bringing back the ethics inside education.
Yes. Yes.
Where because education used to be something that uplifts and enlightens. Now is like making money and things like that. The focus of it is kind of, universities want to make money. It's not about enlightenment. It's about the dollar, right? So he's way ahead of his time, right? As he always was.
That was his dissertation.
Yes, that was his dissertation. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a great book.
Yeah.
It's, to say the least.
Yeah.
You notice in that video they didn't have a video of me. They only had my voice, because they were doing the interviews the day of the performance, and I was like, you know what? I have to make sure everything is being taken care of. I don't have time to sit down and talk. I'll send my voiceover later.
Bless him, man. Bless him.
There's no way. But the youth is really what it's mainly about, because you want to reach them before they get sidetracked as far as what is this all about. And what we've discovering is it's becoming, and we knew this coming in, this is more than just music, right? This is about culture. This is about education, discovery, everything they say what music is about, right? That's what I find in Autophysiopsychic. And so that production was great. We're gonna perform it again at some time point in 2025, with all the the performance, the theatrical part of it, things like that. And we're also going to extend it, and you guys are getting some inside information on that, because Night in the Garden of Love, it's only like, I think, 90 pages.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
very dense. It took me 3 or 4 times to understand the concept. And I was like, am I the only one who's
No.
lost in this? The book club was like, yeah, we're lost too, but the discussions brought up so many possibilities and things like that. One person said, I think the Scorpius is characters in the book, I think that it's all a dream. And we were like, wait a minute, we've been discussing this for 2 months now. We had to backtrack and everything, but that was just one assumption, right? But and plus the people who were reading the book with me, they were all artists, so they were able to expound on it a lot. But also the book deals with humanity as far as losing its humanity,
Yes.
the underpinnings of the story. Because Dr. Yusef Lateef, he wrote 2 particular songs that deals with that. One was Robot Man, and the other one was Technological Homo Sapiens.
Mm-hmm.
Warning that our dependency on technology so much, we would lose our humanity. And it's come to be, because we're less human than we were 20, 30 years ago. Because we're losing these human connections, we're becoming more technology driven. We depend on technology more instead of communication with your neighbors and things like that. The more advanced technology gets, the more smaller the microchips get, and they can, next thing is implanting. I don't mean to sound gloom or anything, but that's the direction they're heading towards, neurotechnology that predicts and your mood and things like that. So the closer we get to that, the more we lose our humanity. And Dr. Yusef Lateef was right on point with that. And also the book it deals a lot with ecology, right?
Yes. Yes.
The sense that we're losing, well, the premise of it is a black hole. The world is becoming a black hole.
Yeah.
And which is very Afrocentric and, in a way. So there's less greenage.
Yeah.
There's less white flowers. White flowers was considered like gold if you found a white flower that you could give to your wife. These things were rare. So the underpinning of the stories is encouraging me, I would say, to highlight them, about ecology, about the electronic age. We just had in Detroit the biggest techno festival in the world called the Movement, right? You had the Movement Festival, but you also, all in Detroit, people were celebrating it, right? And also this week is the non-commercial tech festival, was free, right? So Detroit is techno central. Yusef Lateef is Detroit, and his songs really lines up with that type of music, right? His compositions he did 20, 30 years ago can relate to what's happening right now as far as the movement. So those are the kind of things I'm extracting from and centering on in order to say, not only to highlight this great polymath, right? But also to push the needle forward as far as saying, yeah, he has connections past and the future. In the past, he was already in the future. He was telling us what we're going to experience is what we're experiencing today. So that's a sample of my rabbit holeness of this whole thing that we're going to bring forward.
It's beautiful. It's very beautiful. LuFuki, in the midst of everything he was talking about, there was a chapter in Night in the Garden of Love that was totally human in other ways and very emotional. The chapter pantomime.
Mm-hmm.
When he was having a meeting with the turban woman.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And he mentioned, and Caffarelli was his character, and he was practicing. He was very sad, but he was talking, he was very sad during this particular time. And the turban woman came to visit him, and she brought him a bag of bagels and some reeds for his instrument, right? And this was in the middle of all the other things that he was talking about, the black hole and the other technological things that were going on, with the mutant and everything else. And he said, I'm so glad you came to visit me. Will you come again? And she said, I'm just trying to be the best I can be for him. That's what she was saying. And he said, that was the best bagel I ever had.
Beautiful, huh? The simplicity of it is dynamic.
Yes.
We're having a discussion in class, in the hub class, about the turban woman, and I asked the students, who do you think is the turban woman? Tell me about her. I can't remember exactly what they said, but it was in a way that I didn't anticipate, of course. And but I surmised, based on who I think he was, Yusef Lateef, as far as his spiritual practice, I looked at it as more her part or her role as a very symbolic, as he gave her the name Turban Woman. turban signifies something that's very wise, wisdom, in a lot of cultures and things like that. And she had that motherly, that compassionate role, right?
Yes.
When she was around, kids come, she gathered the kids and stuff like that. She was known as a turban woman.
Yes.
Name. And the ironic thing about the book, so though people were losing their humanity, they're becoming more, technological Homo sapiens, to hearken on that song. The mutant, it actually reminded people of their humanity. And I thought that was just mind-blowing. The mutant had one eye, but
Yeah.
but the mutant was a dancer and dance, reciting poems and reminding the main character, Cafarelli, which is Yusef Lateef, about the importance of love and music and things like that. It's mind-blowing. I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait.
Outstanding, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have a quick question to ask. So many of the students that attended, oh, Adam's with us. Okay, wonderful. Good to see Brother Adam here. The students that came to the summer program were from different Detroit area high schools other than Cranbrook. Is that correct?
Right, that's correct.
Okay.
They were the students that we want to reach with this project.
Okay.
Black and brown. These are some of the these kids were very bright.
Yes.
They were on it. I didn't have to pull anything. And like it said in the trailer, hello, Adam. Assalamu alaikum, Adam. Can't see you, but glad you're here. From what they were just on it, like they said in the trailer, my wife Tazeen said in the trailer, when we started the class first time, they had already been through almost halfway of the book. So they were like ready, what are we going to talk about, and they come with one of the questions we asked, okay, we know the problem of the atmosphere and it's the Earth becoming a black hole. What is the solution of this? I wish I recorded it. They gave me solutions. So they're actually actively thinking of solutions while they're reading the book. I can ask for more.
Beautiful. Yes.
I don't know. I hope Lila, the person you saw in the video, she's in Cranbrook. I hope I'm gonna show this to her because she deserves a lot of credit for bringing us there. Because she saw, first of all, she respects the genre in a very cultural way. So she had enough insight to invite us and put this on and understood the mission. And she is the one who made the connection with Sonia Clark, and he played in 58. So she definitely deserves a lot of credit.
Very good. Any questions, or are there any one?
I put one in a chat from Khadija.
Sure.
But I don't know now what she was referring to.
Oh, what was that question?
She said she's the eternal mother, an oracle of sorts. But I think it was during I can remember exactly when this came because it has a delay from the YouTube chat, so I'm not sure what she's referring to. You have an idea?
Auntie Aisha.
The turban.
I was. That was my guess, but I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Could we Juan, I just sent you a link to one song, and I know it wasn't on the list that we or it probably was, but the song is called since we're on the subject of losing humanity, the song by Dr. Lateef, Technological Homo Sapiens.
Yeah.
To discover or not to discover, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to nurture growth or to ignore change, and by opposing end evolution. To mal-educate, to uncommunicate, no more. And by an uncommunicativeness to say we end the ignorance and the 1,000 cognitive shocks. That Homo sapien is heir to a stimulus control devoutly intuited, to discover, to reason, to experiment, perchance to solve. Ah, that's where it is. For in computer-assisted instruction, what variables and relationships may come? When we have shuffled computerized information, give us games and stimulation. There's the teaching machine that serves as a management tool. For who would bear the profanation of the classroom, the high-speed electronic digital device, predictable sequence, resourcefulness of learning aids, computer power, computation affirmation, the wonder of dial access information, retrieval systems, programmed instruction, the exciting merit of data processing when dealing with the properties of a concrete product. With media, who would manipulate the subject matter? Faculty and students, exploiting the computer's power of computation. But that the dread of ignorance before death, the undiscovered media center, the application of scientific principles to learning, and to discover those undiscovered variables that elude the will. Specifications can be checked. Conscience, technology, quantitative, qualitative, feedback, instructional data, to discover technological Homo sapien. descubrir o no descubrir. He aquí la pregunta. Si es más noble el formador, el desarrollo de la mente, o ignora todo cambio, y así eliminar todo posible evolución.
Okay. So a couple of things about that song. When we first got this collective together, Autophysiopsychic Millennium, it was a must that we connect with his family to get permission to do this, which got us in contact with Auntie Aisha. And in our discussions, somehow we got around to technology, and she suggested a song that we should do. And this is one of them.
No.
This is one of them. So not only, I mean, the groove of it is just something else, right? But also if you listen to it again, you can hear him saying something about algorithms. If you listen closely.
Yes.
I don't know if the word was invented at the time, but he's referring to algorithms. This song, just playing this song and what happened a couple weeks ago as far as the movement, techno music festival that we had for that whole weekend when no one slept for 72 hours, literally something happened, all night. A song like this, dude, fits within that realm. His first, his only Grammy was in New Age because they didn't know what to give him, right?
Right. That's right.
But he was making songs like this, playing the movements 30, 40 years ago. So it's like, and I'm witnessing all this, even the things like God bless him, in a good way. Andre 3000. Yusef Lateef was doing that way before, right? So it's like, I honor these things, but I'm looking back at the elders like, hey, we forgot about that they've actually done that. So, I mean, saying that, my gears are running or, turning as far as like, I'm going to make this pronouncement that I'm going to somehow get Dr. Yusef Lateef honored in the movement festival in some ways, and maybe in my own way, I don't know, but I am going to focus on his electronic music that he was doing, because that's forgotten about, right? People don't know about that. That's what I'm going to focus on, in order to bring this millennium to the next generation. Like, we have an elder that actually, and so in Detroit, there's a lot of people who rightfully so, they get into credit for starting techno music. We honor them, things like that. We have like Wajid and things like that. Great musicians, and they do great workshops as far as techno music, underground music. I think it's called underground music, something, I can't remember exactly what it is. Do great work. But I'm going to add Yusef Lateef to that discussion.
Good.
In our future presentations of Autophysiopsychic music.
Good.
I'll open to any questions if people have. I talk too much.
No, it's beautiful. Keep talking.
So that's the next big move. No, let's just say big move. That's one of the moves that we're gonna make. We're gonna bring shades of ecology and technology, focusing on those two things, along with the Night in the Garden of Love presentation that we did, which we called Something Else in the Garden, which is a play on words. He wrote a book, Something Else. And then Night in the Garden of Love, and Auntie Aisha said, just name it something else in the garden. I was like, it is.
You know what was amazing to me in the midst of all the technology? Yusef was playing the blues on the flute.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is what he credited himself as being.
Yeah. Didn't leave the blues, right? Did not leave the blues. You can't, you had to get homage,
Yeah.
I have a question. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I've been thinking this last part, what you just said is very interesting, and this song from Yusef, so advanced, in the time, his thoughts, his vision, and I can't stop thinking about uh all of these. So, for example, we are using technology now to do this, but we are basically subverting the idea behind technology, because we are doing this to talk about this tradition and to bring back these messages. And that's what I'm afraid, or that's what I think it's important to reach the younger generations, because they are getting more involved with technology each day, every day, and less involved with the tradition, with the roots, as Rob just brilliantly said, in the middle of the techno, there was the blues, there was the roots, and I was thinking about hip hop, um, I don't know what is your connection with these, but when you mentioned Android 3000, our first live stream was about Android 3000 here, and he's one good example of a generation of hip hop that went to this more spiritual and more constructive side of making music. He went to a totally different path, but we are seeing uh, this. Of course, there are many great artists and movements in hip hop, and a great 50 years story. It's a lot of things to talk about. But in general, you see some more superficial, things going on more and more. We just saw this beef between Drake and Kendrick, and this kind of thing, very destructive, And my question, I wanted to do this introduction, is that how is your vision about reaching, and of course, APP Millennium is doing this, as you just said, but what are the tools, or what are the paths that you see for reaching these younger generations and showing the importance to connecting to the roots and, to the traditions,
It's an uphill battle, for one thing. I think they can be reached if they have access to it. That's one of the problems, the lack of access. And I'm hoping that I can help with that. I wholeheartedly believe that if that information, I'm saying that information, whatever that information is, would be presented in front of our youth, they would absorb it. I truly believe that. They would not reject it, because it'd be another way of self-discovery. But if the knowledge, the genre is gatekept and the culture is not there, as we see it right now, is the lack of access to it is the problem. And if we don't take a lesson from our elders, if we don't, not only if we don't take the lesson of our elders, if we don't continue the lessons of our elders as far as community building, mentorship, and all the things that's attached to it, you know, it will continue to be an uphill battle. So those things, I think it should be revived in our communities, in a way of thinking in order to reach them. Because kids these days, they're very fast. And they can distinguish when something is not right. Usually, because one of the things, they have access to so much information so young. They know more than I knew when I was their age, right? As far as how the world is. So presenting to them this information, you know, positive information as far as, you know, affirmations and learning about themselves, it just has to be put in front of them, because it's not what's put in front of them is something that really appeals to lower self. I'm going to be frank, right? And it's not to say those type of energies are not useful, right? It has its uses, right? But also to feed the soul, you know, if you don't have that, and it be creates and balance. I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, how much time do we have?
Literally, you can go on, brother. I think we go till 9 officially, but
Okay, cool.
you know, listen, if you want to continue, we will continue.
I'll just see more questions that can make me think like, oh my God.
So on the chat, we don't have any other questions, but if you prefer, we could open the mics now to our participants on Zoom, and they can ask questions and video. You want to do that?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, let's open up for our seekers. And yeah, thank you, LuFuki, for this beautiful explanation. I love this project. You know, we've talked about it, and I'm very honored to, you know, be learning every day more about Yusef. You know, it's what a great what a great man.
And it's humbling. It's very humbling. And recognizing that, it makes me very protective of this legacy, you know.
It's beautiful, brother. Absolutely. You know, LuFuki, when you're presenting Yusef to young people, it's always, you know, a challenge to, you know, put his life before them so they can see. When I was teaching at Spelman College down here, I made his autobiography required reading, and as well as Night in the Garden of Love. And, you know, I don't know how many ears, you know, fed into what it was that they were being presented. You know, sometimes we don't realize what the results of these will be till years later. Somebody will say, well, I remember this, or something will trigger something in their cultural memory that will give them that ability to recall, you know, something of importance. And I think that's one of the things, you know, young children, you know, I'm talking about kids that are 5, 6, 7 years old. You know, he wrote a book about a children's book, by the way, you know, which is incredible. I found it among my archives not too long ago. But, you know, even with young kids, having them learn and sing, the Creator has a master plan. Is one of the most valuable things that they can learn, because they will take that song with them throughout their lives, because it's still being played, it's still being honored in that tradition, So, exposing young children to Yusef Lateef, to your millennium, to these things, I think it's such a wonderful thing. And I humbly honor you in this, brother. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, it's
I just have to second that emotion.
Da-da-da,
LuFuki, I applaud your admiration and your dedication to Dr. Lateef, who was really an incredible, not just a master musician. I think he was really a historical figure, because he was a philosopher. He was a musician. He was a writer. He was just a man of the arts and teaching love. And I applaud your efforts to, like Ralph said, to touch these young kids with his music. That's a beautiful thing. And I also would offer. I mean, I heard recently some talk of them wanting to remove all of the smart tech phones from schools, which I think would go a long way in letting kids have the time and the opportunity to focus on what they need to be focusing on without the distraction of all of that. But that would be something that I would definitely like to get behind and see happen, because they have just too many distractions.
Same here. I was Adam Rudolph when Andre 3000 came to town. The tickets were sold out like in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I guess I'm not going. But Adam texted me in a group with Carlos Ninos, who's a percussion player for Andre 3000. And I told in a discussion, I was like, man, I really wanted to go to the show. I'm sorry I can't make it there. Tickets sold out. He said, how many you need? So I was like, oh, I guess I'm going there, right? The whole city was buzzing, So what happened was they had people turn in their cell phones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you had to put your cell phone in the bag, they lock it.
Yeah.
And to use it, you have to go 2 floors down out of the space, and if you wanted to make a call. But what happened was you had people sitting there waiting, and then you end up talking to the next person. But the humanity came back after 15 minutes of panic that you can't use your phone. And I was like, this is amazing. And it's genius, because no one was the show. Everyone was like fixated on what was happening and having an experience that's mind-blowing.
Like it used to be.
Now people are interactive.
Yeah, I was like, and I was looking around like, what, people making jokes that don't even know each other, and and people like, just making fun before the show starts. And it was like, this would not have happened if we had our phones with it. We'd be like trying to take pictures of where we are and texting, taking pictures, and tagging and stuff like that. And it's nothing like that. Within 15 minutes after the panic of not having your phone, you realize you talk to the person next to you. So I can only imagine that happening in the schools,
That's what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It really is. Auntie Aisha, when I tell her the things that the ideas that I have, or the things that have happened, her responses have been, Yusef will be proud.
Yes.
Mm.
And that gives me the encouragement to keep going and find new ways to expound upon this in the best way that I can, because it is also, you know, it's a it helps me in a way to understanding myself, like the things that I do. Like I said, as simple the explanation is, it's just as deep.
At the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Beautiful, brother. Beautiful. Are we going to be able to hear Destiny play the harp?
Yes. Well, she's in the playlist. Let's see.
I've never heard her, and I was very interested. I love the harp, of course, and
Destiny. I like to refer to Destiny as if she was we call these things in Islam a sheikha, a teacher. I will give her my allegiance. If she's that much influential in my life as far as giving me advice. And you mentioned her name in the Bay Area. Eyes will light up. I'll tell you a story. So the first time we met, so we got algorithms. You know, I met her while I was in Detroit, and she was in Oakland. I never knew her, but we enjoyed each other's art. So we finally get to meet after a couple of years. First of all, when I met her, it was as if I already knew her. It was, there was no, you know, when you first meet a person, you're just trying to figure them out. No, it was like that was gone. It was almost as if we were already related. So we go to this cafe. So her song is number 28 in this list. So we go to a cafe. I think it was Pete's Coffee. All those who Pete's Coffee. You know about Pete's Coffee, right?
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah.
So we're in Pete's Coffee, and we were, and me, my wife, and her and her husband, Chriswell, just as amazing. We were having a discussion, and it got very like heated and philosophical, right? And this is white guy over across the table. There's two of them. They didn't know each other. One guy was writing notes, and the other guy came up and said, "Destiny, I've been following you for years and never I want to know you are my favorite musician ever."
Wow.
You know, and so everywhere we went, after that, we went to the farmers market on by Jack London. No, that's Jack London, by the lake. We were walking, and people were just coming up to her and saying, you know, thank you for everything that you do. So she's that type of person, you know. So to collaborate with her for Detroit Red is a godsend. Plus, that same trip we performed at John Coltrane Church, where she just blew it up in San Francisco. So if you don't know her, please get to know her, because I can't say enough.
Can we listen to her now?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Oh, I think Juan's gonna play it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just pasting her comments on YouTube chat, on the chat here on Zoom.
Need I say more?
Yes, yes, indeed. And then the rain just stopped.
Yeah, I know, right? Right?
Wow.
Ain't that something?
She's incredible. It is a she, right? She's incredible.
Yeah, she's incredible. And just a beautiful person as to music. It's just a reflection of her. Yeah, I mean, she is the go-to. She's done her part as far as reviving the jazz, the J word, reviving the harp in the genre. She's done. I'll say that right there. She has a very interesting story about her relationship with the harp and how that manifests. I'll let her tell you guys.
Beautiful. Just beautiful music, you know.
It is.
She's a historian herself. Well, a lot of street credit. And she'll tell you when you don't.
That's important. Street cred, man.
Street
Come
cred.
on.
My God. But yeah, that's I might have to hit the road soon. Her time is in right now, and so if it's anything we have to lock in.
LuFuki, I want to say how honored, really, and I don't mean to gush, man, but brother, I've been moved and touched by the information that you have presented, the discussion that we had. You know, I'm so honored and grateful for you, brother, because you're carrying on the legacy of not only Brother Yusef, but also the music that you are doing with your other projects. I'm honored that you're on that path. I think I mentioned that to you before. Stay on your path, brother. You know?
Thank you. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the encouragement, and thank you for the kind words, what I'm getting from the elders who are coming out and expressing their gratitude. I'm just as grateful. I'm grateful for the people who brought who continued this legacy, who made the legacy. I'm grateful to the creator for putting me in this position of a worthy mission, a worthy lifetime mission. So I don't know what to say. I won't say I don't deserve this. I want to think of a better word. When you find yourself in a place that you didn't imagine being, but know that you were there for a reason. I'll put it that way, right? And I cherish that, and I'm honored. I can't claim anything. I'm not claiming anything.
It's not ours, brother.
Not ours. If I tried to, it'd probably be shambles, right? I can't claim anything. I'm just honored to bring it forward.
Yeah.
And to have it respected, and
Thank you for sharing your gift.
Absolutely.
And I applaud your dedication.
Thank you for listening. It wouldn't be the same if people weren't listening, I guess.
Well, they gave it to us, so we're giving it to you, and you continue on your path, brother. Thank you so much. On behalf of all the seekers that have come on today, I don't know what happened to Carolyn. I really wanted her to speak with you before you got off, but I have to go. I got little munchkins that I gotta go. I gotta go for them. But make sure you send me what you said you would send me, please. And I want to say it's that time. And thank you so much, brother. You know, shukran. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, man.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And I'm gonna get off, and thank you so much again. And LuFuki, we will talk soon.
Okay, inshallah.
All right, brother. All
Assalamu
right,
alaikum.
peace.
Peace. Peace.
Everyone, thank you for watching.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thank you, Juan. Thank you, Charles. Thank you.
Yay, yay.
Pam. Thank you. All that joined us tonight. I'm grateful.